how can you lose when you're doing you?
It's a marathon. You're at 109 right now.
Marathon.
I'm Larry Wiggs, and you're watching Bored in Los Angeles. Bored in Los Angeles with Larry Wiggs. That's me. Hey, hey. What do I want to talk about? I don't know. I'm going to just sit here and just talk. Microphone check 1 2. What is this? Hip hop. Hip hop. A day in the life of a legend named Larry. I've got coincidences to talk about. Don't be scary. And just because I saw an omen, I saw it. And just because I saw an omen, you might think that I'm joking, but I don't really care. It's just something that I noticed. Mic drop.
I see you, black man.
Yo, hip hop. Born and raised on hip hop right here in Los Angeles. I was born in Inglewood. I'm in Inglewood right now. I was born in Inglewood. My mom and dad lived in Inglewood, but they had me on the west side, and then they brought me back to Inglewood. So my formative years, at least the first few months, maybe a year or so, I was raised in Inglewood. Yep. And then we moving on up to the west side. So you're watching this video now because I have something to tell you. I have to think of something to tell you. Let's see. This is the golden hour right now. This is the best time to film any video. This is it right here. The kids just saw me. The kids who live here and play around over here, they just saw me. They're going to come over here and say, what's he doing? Oh, that's interesting. Like, stay over there. Play your games. This is me as an adult playing. This is how I play. I want to tell you Japan. Let's talk about Japan. So I went to a Japanese restaurant. The Japanese restaurant is over in Gardena, in that direction. It's over there. I went to Gardena, Shinsengumi. And the employees over there, they're very loud and boisterous when you enter. Konnichiwa. I don't think they say konnichiwa. They say other things, but they welcome you. They say they're very loud and boisterous. So I was over there with Big Mike. Big Mike is a former colleague of mine, friend of mine. He lives here in California. And I said, let's go to a Japanese restaurant. He said, okay, fine. So I had just come back from Japan. So I was excited. I was excited to do anything related to Japan, Japanese culture right here in Los Angeles. I was like, I had such a great time in Japan. Let me just bring that energy back here to Los Angeles. They weren't going for it, y'all. They weren't having it. Even though, like, some of the staff are not Japanese. I said, can you say Ichimaru-kyu for me? Those are my numbers, 109. Those are my numbers, right? So I'm like, can you say that in Japanese? I said it to them, Ichimaru-kyu. That means 109. And you know what? They weren't having it. They were like, I don't know how to say that. I can't say that. You can't say what I just said to you. You can't repeat what I just said. I mean, come on now. If you can't repeat, I mean, like, that doesn't make any sense. They were like, basically, I'm sure they were just like, look, we get paid to say what we get paid to say. And that's all we know. I was like, it's only Ichimaru-kyu. That's it. They were like, brother, we can't do it. And that was the problem that I had with that restaurant, because it seemed to be a racial thing. Like, I don't know what this black man is saying to me. I don't speak whatever language he speaks. Where are the rest of my customers? The Asian customers, can I help you? My white customers, can I serve you? These black people, just get their money, give them some food and get them out of here as quickly as possible. That's the way I felt. I wasn't doing too much. They had all the energy and stuff, and I was like, I'll say it, and then you just repeat it. Ichimaru-kyu, and they were just like, one guy. There was one guy who did that. There was another Japanese. There was a Japanese woman, because I guess they called her over. They're like, I don't know what language this guy is speaking. And I'm like, how dare you? So they called the Japanese woman over, and I'm like, can you say Ichimaru-kyu? And she's like, oh yeah, Ichimaru-kyu. You mean like the shopping mall in Tokyo? She knew exactly what I was talking about. She's like, oh yeah, Ichimaru-kyu. She looks at the guy. She's like, yeah, Ichimaru-kyu. That's what he's saying. And the guy's like, I don't know. That's a foreign language to me. I don't know what he's saying. So they came with all the energy. Hey, everything that they were saying in Japanese to all the other customers. They had all that energy. And for me, they had no energy. They weren't even willing to try, And then when we left, like when each customer left, there was a lot of energy, Domo arigatou gozaimasu. Hey, thank you for shopping here. Thank you for coming, bringing us your business. But when we left, it was just like, yeah, okay, guy, bye. I don't like that. Do I have to say that I don't like that? I mean, I don't like that. That wasn't cool. I've got to start earning more money in Los Angeles. So when I come through, then it's not a matter of what language do you speak. It's the only language that matters, which is money, the green money, the green dollar, the green language. As long as you speak that, they be goofballing, they'll be falling all over themselves to say, Ichimaru-kyu, Ichimaru-kyu, Ichimaru-kyu. Until then, until you got the money, no honey. You ain't got the money, you ain't got no honey. Man, dude. And I had a great experience. When I was in Japan, I didn't ask them to say Ichimaru-kyu. I didn't do that. But in Japan, they were so much more welcoming and just open. I was just like, wow, this is so cool. I mean, of course, I was following their rules, following what they had me do. You know what? In Japan, no one was yelling like they were yelling at this place in Gardena, California. No one was yelling. I didn't go into a restaurant and they're, hey! And when I left, hey! No, they didn't make any noise like that. I guess I didn't go to any restaurants where they do that. That didn't happen. I went to a number of different spots. Nothing like that. So, I mean, I'm kind of off it, but also I want my experience in Los Angeles to be just as dynamic, as fruitful, as colorful as it was as I traveled the world with no problems. But I come back to LA and then they want to give me like a side eye, like, what's up with this dude? What's going on? What are we doing here? They don't have enough money. Okay, we're not gonna give them any extra energy because we need tips and they don't speak our language. They don't speak that green language. Yeah, the conclusion is I just need to make some more money. I had a good 3-year run working with the Los Angeles Unified School District where I worked daily. I was paid well, better than some other jobs. I mean, I know what you're saying. If you're a doctor, well, then you get paid well. If you're a lawyer, well, then you get paid well. If you're a tradesman, a plumber, a carpenter, well, then you can get paid well. I'm none of those things. I'm a teacher. Teachers don't get paid that well. But for me, I'm not a certificated, I'm not a credentialed teacher, so I don't even get what teachers get. I'm out here scrounging for my livelihood, doing odd jobs here and there because my situation is precarious. Why is my situation precarious? Well, when I went to college to study finance. Right here in Los Angeles, who has a finance job, or what blacks have a finance, position available, or what family of financial professionals do you know of that are black and they have a financial advisory firm that they can just say, hey son, we got a job for you, come on in, legacy, generational wealth, come on in, like lawyers, so and sons. You're a lawyer, go in and work with your dad. You're in law, just like your dad. There weren't any financial advisors, not in my family. My dad worked for the city of Los Angeles. So I'm working for the city of Los Angeles. I'm still working for the city of Los Angeles, but I'm not as consistent. I've been back in Los Angeles since my international travels over the summer. I've been back in Los Angeles for the past 3 weeks now, and I've worked 3 days out of those weeks. 3 days. As compared with before my vacation, before I was traveling, I was working consistently every day, 5 days a week. Money. Now, no money. So, got to keep doing what you do. I have a bachelor's degree. I have a master's degree, and I talk with other black men in Los Angeles who are just as educated, just as well educated, and for them, the struggle to stay employed is a real war. It's a war to stay employed, to stay with your job. Doesn't matter what your degree is. Certain situations happen at certain places, and then you're left empty-handed. They say if you want to receive, your hand has to be open. Personally, I found that with all of the things that I've received, I'm holding on to them. They're in my hand. Like all of the experiences, world experiences, things that I've, travel and even things that I've purchased, I'm holding on to them. I have them in my hand. And you know what? I feel like I need to let them go. I need to sell things. I need to just shed everything. I'm a caterpillar. I need to shed it and become the butterfly that I'm meant to be. But your hand, you cannot receive if your hand is closed. If your hand is full, you have to let go. So I let it go. I'm telling my stories. I'm on YouTube. I share. I have a website. I've got a store online. I've got all of these things access here. Here I am. Let me share with you. All right. If you're watching this and you're a young black man in Los Angeles, let me tell you about the world, not just about my life. No, not just that. Let me tell you about the world. I've traveled to 42 countries, young man. 42. And you know how many of those countries I've actually lived in? See, let me tell you the difference between traveling to a country and living in a country. When you travel to a country, you could be there for 24, 48, 72 hours. And you can say, oh, I've been to that country. Heck, you could stay there for a whole week on vacation. Fine. But let me tell you about living in a country for 9 years. Living and working in a country. That was South Korea for me. I'll tell you about my experience in Saudi Arabia. I lived there for 2 years. I was speaking with a young black man at the high school. Day before yesterday. Friday? No, it was Thursday. Today is Sunday. Thursday, I was talking with him. I told him I had worked in Saudi Arabia. He was like, wow, that's impressive. Those weren't his exact words, but he was like, whoa, okay, that's big. So I can tell you about Saudi Arabia after living there 2 years. Have you ever heard of the country Peru? I was in Peru. I traveled through Peru for 1 whole month. I studied Spanish there for 4 weeks. I take that back. I studied Spanish there for 2 weeks. 1 week in the city of Cusco. The other week I was in Lima, Peru. I studied Spanish there. The rest of the time I was traveling, checking out Peru. I've been to Cuba. I traveled to Cuba a total of 14 days. I'll spare you the details. But I went to Cuba twice in the same year, 2017. I went to Cuba one time. I was there for 4 days, and then I left, and then I said, I got to go back to Cuba. I can't get enough of that place. I go back to Cuba. I stay for 10 days, 14 days total, 2 weeks. I was in a country called Oman, spelled like oh man, O-M-A-N, Oman. I was in a country like that. That's the name of the country. It's an Islamic country. I lived there for like 7 months. Europe. I was in Spain. I lived in Spain for, I want to say 1 month. I want to say 1 month I was in Spain. 4 weeks. Madrid and Granada. I've traveled, yo. You want to know? I've got stories for you. I've got stories, experiences. Let me give you an example. I think when I last counted, there are 8 countries where I drove. I rented cars and I drove in those countries. And not all cars or not all countries drive on the right side of the road. Some of them drive on the left side of the road. I was in Thailand over the summer, and I drove on the left side of the road in Thailand. I was in Saudi Arabia. I drove like 4 hours I was driving for almost 2 years that I lived there. But the longest journey I took while I was in Saudi Arabia, I drove from the capital of Riyadh to a city on the coast, on the eastern shoreboard called Dammam. I drove that distance. It was like 4 hours in Saudi Arabia, man. Unbelievable experience because they don't drive the way that people drive in Los Angeles, or in America, rather. Turkey. I rented a car in Turkey. I was driving a manual stick shift, you know? You youngsters don't even know about those stick shifts. Man, had to do that. What else did we do? South Korea. I bought a car in South Korea. I held on to that car for like 3 or 4 years. Got me around. It was a stick shift. It was a manual transmission. That's where I learned the manual transmission. Been around the world, y'all. Around the world. Around the world. Stick with me. I'll tell you stories about the world. Stick with me. I'll tell you stories about the world. I'll take you on a journey. I've got videos. I have pictures. I can show you the world, okay? Yes, you can read a book. And in fact, if you read books, you're ahead of the game. Do that. Educate yourself. And if you don't do that, listen to those who have done it, who have lived it. Let us tell you. I'm out.
How can you lose when you're doing you?
It's a marathon. You're at 109 right now.
October 9th. That's where it starts.
You see, it's the same old thing.